The Assyrian Empire built the world's first professional standing army. They invented siege weapons that wouldn't be matched for 1,000 years. They conquered territories stretching from Egypt to Persia. For over 3 centuries, they were unstoppable. Today, we're revealing the ingenious military innovations that made the Assyrian Empire the ancient world's greatest superpower. Before we discover the Assyrian Empire's revolutionary strategies, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We're uncovering ancient military innovations every week. Let's dive in. The Neo-Assyrian Empire. From approximately 911 BCE to 609 BCE, they dominated the ancient Near East. At their height in the 7th century BCE, they controlled an area larger than any empire before them. Egypt, Babylon, Persia, the Levant. All fell under Assyrian control. But how did they achieve this? What made their military so dominant? The answer lies in revolutionary innovations that transformed ancient combat. Professional soldiers instead of seasonal farmers. Iron weapons instead of bronze. Advanced siege technology that could break any fortification. And organizational systems that wouldn't be matched until the Roman Empire. Today, we're exploring the military genius of ancient Assyria. Innovation. 1. The world's first professional standing army. Before the Assyrians, most armies were temporary. Farmers and craftsmen would be called up during campaign season. They'd fight for a few months, then return home for harvest. This limited how long campaigns could last and how far armies could travel. King Tiglath-Pileser III changed everything around 745 BCE. He created the world's first true professional standing army. Soldiers who trained year-round, whose only job was warfare. This transformed what was militarily possible. Campaigns could last years instead of months. Armies could be deployed thousands of miles from home. Soldiers became specialists in their roles. Archers, cavalry, infantry, engineers, each unit trained specifically for their function. The Greek historian Herodotus later wrote that the Assyrian army was the most formidable force he'd encountered. This professional military model became the foundation for every great empire that followed. The Persians adopted it, the Greeks refined it, the Romans perfected it, but the Assyrians invented it. Innovation 2. Iron weapons and advanced metallurgy. Around 900 BCE, the Assyrians pioneered the military use of iron. This gave them an enormous technological advantage. Bronze, used by most armies, is relatively soft. Swords bend, shields dent, armor cracks. Iron is significantly harder and more durable. Assyrian iron swords could cut through bronze shields. Their iron-tipped arrows pierced bronze armor. Their iron spearheads didn't bend or break in combat. But here's what made this revolutionary. Iron ore is far more abundant than the copper and tin needed for bronze. This meant the Assyrians could mass-produce weapons. Equipping enormous armies became economically feasible. Where other kingdoms might arm 1,000 soldiers with bronze, the Assyrians could arm 10,000 with iron. And those iron weapons were superior in every way. Modern archaeological analysis confirms this advantage. Iron weapons from Assyrian sites show sophisticated metallurgy. They understood heat treatment and tempering, techniques that improved hardness and flexibility. This wasn't just better weapons. It was an industrial military advantage. Innovation. 3. Revolutionary siege technology. The Assyrians became masters of siege warfare. They developed technology specifically designed to break fortified cities. Their battering rams were engineering marvels. Multi-story wooden towers on wheels, protected by dampened leather hides to prevent fire. Inside, soldiers operated massive iron-headed rams. These could pound city gates and walls for days. Assyrian king Ashurnasirpal II perfected these designs. Reliefs from his palace at Nimrud show detailed depictions of siege towers. 4 wheels for mobility, turrets on top for archers, 1 or sometimes 2 battering rams at the base. The ram heads were iron, sometimes weighing hundreds of pounds. But that wasn't all. They built movable wooden towers that rose higher than city walls. Archers inside could shoot down at defenders. Infantry could cross from the tower directly onto the walls. Water hoses on top prevented fire attacks. They employed sappers who tunneled beneath walls, undermining foundations until sections collapsed. The Assyrians even developed early forms of psychological warfare during sieges. They would display captured enemies on stakes outside city walls. This convinced many cities to surrender without fighting. The famous siege of Lachish in 701 BCE demonstrates their capability. King Sennacherib's forces captured this heavily fortified Judean city. Archaeological excavations at Lachish reveal evidence of the Assyrian siege. Ramps they built to reach the walls. Thousands of arrowheads and sling stones. The systematic destruction of the city. This siege was so significant that Sennacherib had it depicted in massive reliefs in his palace. Today, these reliefs are displayed in the British Museum. They show the terrifying effectiveness of Assyrian siege technology. Innovation, Pinfry 4. Combined arms tactics. The Assyrians pioneered what we now call combined arms warfare, coordinating different military units to support each other. Their army consisted of specialized divisions, chariot units for rapid strikes and communication, heavy cavalry with lances and armor, light cavalry archers for harassment and pursuit, heavily armored infantry with shields and spears, light infantry with slings and bows, engineer corps for sieges and bridge building. Each unit had a specific role, and they trained to operate together. In the 9th century BCE, chariots were still dominant. By the 7th century BCE, the Assyrians had transitioned to cavalry. Horses had become strong enough to carry armored riders. This gave them unprecedented tactical flexibility. Cavalry could move faster than chariots. They could operate in terrain where chariots couldn't. Mountains, forests, broken ground. The Assyrian cavalry became legendary. Riders carrying long lances, horse archers who could shoot while riding. This combined arms approach made them nearly invincible in open battle. Infantry provided the solid center. Cavalry struck the flanks. Archers provided covering fire. Chariots smashed through weak points. It was systematic, coordinated, devastating. Innovation. 5. Advanced logistics and infrastructure. Military power isn't just about weapons and tactics. It's about supply, communication, and movement. The Assyrians excelled at military logistics. They established marshalling cities throughout their empire. These were forward operating bases, stocked with grain, oil, weapons, and equipment. When a campaign was launched, armies could quickly assemble and provision. Shalmaneser III reportedly invaded Syria in 845 BCE with 120,000 troops. That's an enormous force for the ancient world. Such numbers were only possible with sophisticated logistics. The Assyrians built roads connecting their empire. These weren't just dirt paths, constructed routes that could handle military traffic. This allowed rapid troop movement. An uprising in one province? Forces could be redirected from another region within weeks. They also built bridges across major rivers. By the 2nd millennium BCE, wooden bridges spanned the Euphrates. By the 1st millennium BCE, stone bridges stood at Nineveh and Assur. Infrastructure that made military dominance possible. The Assyrians were also first to use camels extensively in military campaigns. Camels could carry 5 times what donkeys could carry. They needed less water, perfect for desert campaigns. This logistical innovation extended Assyrian reach into Arabia, regions previously difficult to campaign in. Innovation. 6. Intelligence and communication. The Assyrians developed sophisticated intelligence gathering. They employed scouts who used innovative techniques. Some would swim underwater using goatskins for flotation, approaching enemy cities undetected via rivers, gathering information about defenses and garrison strength. This intelligence determined siege strategies, where walls were weakest, which gates were most vulnerable, how many defenders a city had. Communication systems were also advanced. Signal fires relayed messages across distances. Mounted couriers carried detailed reports. The king received regular intelligence updates, even during distant campaigns. This centralized command and control was unprecedented. Kings like Sargon II could coordinate multiple campaigns simultaneously. One army in the north, another in the south. Forces operating thousands of miles apart, all responding to strategic direction from the capital. Innovation. 7. Systematic conquest and administration. The Assyrians didn't just conquer, they developed systems to hold conquered territories. After capturing a region, they implemented standard administrative practices. They installed Assyrian governors, stationed garrisons at strategic points, built fortifications to maintain control. They also practiced mass deportation, not as cruelty for its own sake, though they could be ruthless, but as a strategic tool. Rebellious populations would be relocated to distant provinces. This broke nationalist resistance, created multi-ethnic regions with no unified opposition. Deported peoples became part of the Assyrian economic system. Laborers, craftsmen, even soldiers and auxiliary units. The empire wasn't just extracting tribute, it was integrating conquered peoples into a larger state structure. This administrative sophistication allowed the Assyrian Empire to grow beyond what military might alone could achieve. The legacy. Influence on future empires. When the Assyrian Empire eventually fell in 612 BCE, destroyed by a coalition of Babylonians, Medes, and Scythians, their military innovations didn't disappear. The Babylonians who conquered them adopted Assyrian military organization. The Persians who succeeded them used Assyrian administrative models. Alexander the Great studied Assyrian siege warfare. The Romans developed their military machine using principles the Assyrians pioneered. Professional standing armies, combined arms tactics, advanced logistics, systematic siegecraft, all trace back to Assyrian innovation. Even today, military historians study Assyrian campaigns. Their strategies remain relevant to understanding large-scale military operations. The coordination of logistics, intelligence, and specialized forces. These principles haven't changed. Only the technology has evolved. So what was the Assyrian Empire's secret to dominating the ancient world? It wasn't one thing. It was a complete military system. Professional soldiers trained year-round. Superior iron weapons mass-produced at scale. Revolutionary siege technology that could break any fortification. Combined arms tactics coordinating multiple unit types. Advanced logistics supporting campaigns thousands of miles from home. Intelligence networks providing strategic information. And administrative systems that turned conquest into lasting control. The Assyrian Empire created the template for every great military power that followed. Their innovations shaped warfare for the next 3,000 years. And in many ways, we're still using strategies they pioneered over 2,700 years ago. If this changed how you see ancient military history, hit that like button. Subscribe for more discoveries about how ancient empires shaped our world. What other ancient military powers should we explore? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. We read everyone and use them for future